In response to the circumstances, each country's government implemented policies aimed at promoting economic stabilization that caused the economic downturn. Objectives of the study. What is fiscal policy? How did COVID-19 pandemic shape the economy? What are the outcomes of implementing fiscal policy measures in stabilizing the economic downturn caused by the pandemic? And what are the areas for improvement in policy design and implementation for future crisis management? The researchers utilized Google Scholar, ResearchGate, ScienceDirect, and other sources to support the research study. Consequently, a total of 33 most relevant search results were reviewed and taken into consideration. Fiscal policy refers to the government's adjustment of spending and taxes to achieve certain macroeconomic objectives. This emphasizes to government spending, taxation, and government subsidies. A nation's economy grows as a result of government spending. Public expenditures are essentially the sums of money that the government spends from tax and other sources. Expenditures include spending on the things like hospitals, schools, roads, and any other expense that may aid in the nation's growth and development. It is also made up of costs for labor, salaries, consumables, and other things. Tax system helps with resource allocation, income redistribution, economic stabilization, and economic growth. A well-designed tax system should prevent undesirable distortions, minimize the cost of tax collections, and promote growth in order to accomplish desired fiscal policy object. Expansionary fiscal policy. It aims to boost aggregate demand to stimulate economic growth. It occurs when the Congress decides to decrease tax rates or increase government expenditure. It focuses on increasing government spending. This entails devoting additional funds to social programs, infrastructure projects, and other endeavors aimed at increasing demand and promoting economic growth. Decreasing taxes. Tax reductions can increase consumer spending by putting more money in their pockets, which boosts economic growth. And lastly, increasing transfer payments or government subsidies. These are payments like welfare or unemployment benefits given to individuals or groups who satisfy specified requirements. Raising government subsidies can assist in lowering unemployment and raising recipients' standard of living. Contractionary fiscal policy. It seeks to slow economic development by lowering aggregate demand. It happens when Congress increases taxes or reduces expenditure. This focuses on increasing taxes. Tax increases can slow down the economy and decrease consumer spending, which can assist control inflation and prevent overheating. Reducing government spending. Reducing government expenditure on social programs, infrastructure, and other projects can assist to slow down economic growth and diminish aggregate demand. Cutting public sector pay or jobs, or decreasing government subsidies. Lowering the wages or employment opportunities for public sector workers can also lead to a decline in aggregate demand since it lowers the demand for products and services. Due to the pandemic, demand, supply chains, and manufacturing industry were severely disrupted, resulting in a severe global economic downturn. Numerous companies had to close or drastically scale back their operations, which resulted in widespread layoffs and higher unemployment rates. Many people stayed at home, and this has impacted manufacturing, transportation, and service industries. As a result, in the Philippines, the GDP decreased by 0.7% in the first quarter of 2020. The industrial sector saw the biggest fall in the second quarter, 33.5% decline in construction, 21.3% decline in manufacturing, and 15.8% decline in the services sector. The industries with the biggest drops under service sector are lodging and food services of 68%, live performances, movies and personal services of 63%, transportation of 59.2%, and wholesale and retail trade for 13.1%. To offset the detrimental effects of public health regulations on the economy and preserve welfare, governments enacted economic packages. Government used fiscal policy, which included increased spending and decreased tax collections. Also, transfers to households and businesses. Two fiscal packages, Bayanihan 1 for relief and Bayanihan 2 for recovery, were among the government's fiscal solutions to the public health crisis and economic downturn. In March 2020, the Bayanihan to Heal as One Act, also referred to as Bayanihan 1, was put into effect. By giving the Philippine President unique authority to handle the situation, it sought to offer prompt help to Filipinos impacted by the pandemic. This involved setting aside money for projects aimed at improving social conditions, health-related measures, and other endeavors to lessen the pandemic's financial effects. September 2020 saw the enactment of the Bayanihan to Recover as One Act, or Bayanihan 2. It concentrated on both relief and recovery measures. The act was designed to aid in the rebuilding of the economy by offering additional help to firms and individuals impacted by the pandemic. Basically, a significant amount of public spending was adopted as a fiscal policy measure through these packages. On the other hand, to encourage investment and economic growth, the CREATE, Corporate Recovery and Tax Incentive for Enterprises statute was also introduced. It entails reforming corporate income taxes, lowering corporate income tax rates for specific companies, and streamlining fiscal incentives to make them more time and performance-bound. Enhancing the Philippines' competitiveness and luring investments and promoting economic recovery is the goal of CREATE. This shows us how widely the fiscal policy measure of tax reduction was implemented. Though increase in government spending and decrease in tax collections will increase the debt-to-GDP ratio of the Philippines, according to Gonzalez and others, it would progressively decrease over the years as GDP growth is anticipated to push the debt ratio lower at 2024. In essence, as the years go by, the economy will progressively return to normal and eventually grow. Reserve Fund for Public Expenditures. Establish policies for emergency circumstances. Continuous innovation. Public-private partnership. Build partnerships across countries. And lastly, enhance investment efficiency. During the COVID-19 pandemic, where many businesses stopped operating and people lost their jobs that led to a high unemployment rate, governments of every nation enacted economic packages that included fiscal and monetary measures to offset the detrimental effects of public health regulations on the economy and preserve public welfare. Governments enacted large fiscal plans to aid the pandemic's victims, including individuals and companies. These measures included extensive government spending, direct cash transfers, grants, and tax reductions, wherein increase in government expenditure is believed to lead to a temporary boost in output and employment. Increase in government subsidies will help the nation recover, and tax reductions will assist the businesses bounce back to normal.